77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
He's at war with woke.
Joe Concha
thinks liberals are a joke.
Joe Concha.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Rod Stewart and a little song called Leave Virginia Alone. And that's actually happening in the Commonwealth. Unbelievable. That ruling that we saw today by not the regular Supreme Court, the Virginia Supreme Court, a 4-3 ruling that overturned redistricting efforts in the Commonwealth. In other words, that whole scheme, that gambit, that theft that we saw last month, where they just decided to take a state that Kamala Harris won by 5 points, that currently has 6 Democratic Congress people and 5 from the Republican side, which sounds about right for a state that was decided by 5 points in a presidential election. They were going to redraw the maps where it would be 10-1 Democrat. Absolutely ridiculous. And sure enough, the Virginia Supreme Court shot that down today. The language on the ballot measure said that it would only be a temporary change when it was completely and totally permanent. End of story. And Democrats are absolutely losing their minds over this because now that's 4 seats they thought they had that they just kind of created. And now that's gone. Tennessee just added a Republican district, wiping out a Democrat one. That's gone. Louisiana is going to do the same thing. Florida is going to add at least 4 seats. And when you add it all up, this is the amazing part. After all the redistricting going on in places like California, what they attempted in Virginia, this is going to add 14 seats, probably. The elections still have to be won, obviously, but the way the maps are going to be drawn will be much more favorable to Republicans in certain states. You're looking at 14 possible seats added to the Republican side. And when you have a 4-seat majority, this is going to force Democrats to win 19, 20 seats during the midterms. That's not going to be easy, especially with the fact that they have nothing to run on besides, the whole saving democracy thing, right? So it's just awesome to be able to look back on all the end zone dances that we saw after Republicans lost in Virginia. And that ballot measure, by the way, only passed like 51%, 49%. And tens of millions of dollars was funneled into the state of Virginia to make sure they got that vote out, led by Hakeem Jeffries, by the way, who I think isn't going to be the House Speaker on the minority side for too much longer. This guy has been very, very ineffective. He's horrible during interviews, and if Democrats don't take back the House in November, boy, I don't think Hakeem Jeffries is going to have that leadership position for too much longer, as won't Chuck Schumer as well. Anyway, here's cut 6. This is Gavin Newsom, who completely and totally gerrymandered his entire state, celebrating what happened in Virginia. And boy, this didn't age well. Cut number 6, go.
What a night in Virginia. We keep saying it. When we fight fire with fire, we win. And we are winning all across the United States, in state houses, in courthouses, and now in the court of public opinion. But what is at stake is putting a stake in the heart of the Trump administration by taking back the House of Representatives and taking back the United States Senate. Right. MAGA, dare I say, they're losing at their own game. They're on the defense and they're scared.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that aged like milk in a sauna. Not good at all for Gavin. And I love how it's, again, saving democracy by completely and totally changing the rules and disenfranchising voters. I guess that's the way we're going to do this. And again, I've made this point before. You say, all right, why can Florida do it and Virginia can't? Because in Florida's constitution, it allows them to redraw maps based on what the state legislator votes for, right? And in Virginia, they just put it on just out of nowhere, middle of the year, put it on a ballot after the governor there vowed not to do this. Then she was pressured, obviously, by party bosses saying, you better do this. And by the way, Florida went to President Trump by 13 points. Its current governor, Ron DeSantis, by 18 points. Yet that is a predominantly red state and should have more Republican representation. Then the Supreme Court, the highest one, they ruled that you can't gerrymander districts based on race anymore. And that's why Louisiana, for example, is going to redraw their maps as well as a result of that particular ruling. So Democrats are losing everywhere at this point on this front. And Indiana, we saw what happened there. 5 Trump-backed candidates primaried candidates there, incumbents that were against redistricting in the Hoosier state, and now they're all gone, which means, that's a big problem for anybody who was against redistricting in Indiana, which is one of the reddest states in the country, because now that's going to happen as well. So when you add it all up, 14 seats to Republicans. Democrats are going to have a very hard time overcoming that. They're basically going to have to run the table. Anyway, AOC, here she is on these gerrymandering decisions. And boy, there seems to be some panic here. This is cut number 18. Go.
Well, how the hell are we supposed to cheat now that the Voting Rights Act doesn't allow us to pack black people into a clearly insane gerrymandered district? Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to run on our mentally retarded platform without cheating? It's impossible. So let's go back to why the Voting Rights Act passed in the first place and how Democrats abused the of it. In the 1960s, Democrats dominated the South but didn't feel the need to hide their true form.
No mixing!
They required literacy tests for black voters and dumbass white ones too.
I'm like you because I cannot read.
So they passed the Voting Rights Act in 1965, and this Democrat hero said,
I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years.
Yeah. Initially, it worked as intended, and blacks could vote safely, while Democrats needed a new strategy.
Hey, y'all, I'm totally not racist now, and I actually love the black.
Okay. Obviously, that was AI. But is that great? I mean, if I didn't tell you it was AI, you kind of would believe it, right? Outside of when AOC said that, how are we going to get people to vote for our mentally retarded policies? That may have been the giveaway, but still, these type of videos are coming out more and more. We see it with Spencer Pratt out in California, who we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, that sounded as real as it gets. And there's enough people out there probably would believe that AOC would say things like that. Oh, boy. So anyway, April jobs report out again. If this keeps happening where the economy gets better and better, we have a Dow that's back near 50,000 once again, S&P and NASDAQ at all-time highs. And now the jobs reports have been getting better and better as well. This only bodes well for the GOP in November. Cut number 9, go.
Big jobs report for April. 65,000 expected. Nay, nay, nay. We are much stronger. 115,000. 115. And last month, upward revision from 178 to 185. These are good numbers.
They are good numbers. That's on CNBC. Meanwhile, just to get back to this whole redistricting thing for a moment. So Tennessee is going to have a new map, and it's going to add 1 Republican seat, probably. This is the funny thing. You have people screaming bloody murder, that this is racist, that black voters are being disenfranchised. But Linda Moynihan of the New York Post was on CNN last night, and she makes a quite interesting observation that basically diffuses that whole racist argument thing. This is cut number 10. Go.
The woman now who is likely going to win the 9th district in Tennessee is a black Republican woman as a result of this redistricting effort. It's likely going to be a black Republican woman who beats that old white man.
Could I make this very simple point?
But that's racist?
We're going to come back.
It actually is.
We're going to take a quick break, and then Tesla and Congressman, I'm going to have you both respond. We'll be right back.
Abby Phillip, you got to love her. Oh, boy, that's such an excellent point. Let's get to commercial real fast so we could regroup and my producers can tell me a good argument to make back on something like that. But yeah, panic was certainly there. In Tennessee, there is a representative named Justin Pearson who called Trump this week a white supremacist domestic terrorist, all back to back. which is impressive on some level. But anyway, here is Justin Pearson in 2016, sounding like a reasonable, moderate guy who just wants to bring positive change to his district in Tennessee and Washington in general. This is the coherent and not insane Justin Pearson in cut number 12. Go.
I want to bring together different voices, dissenting voices, voices that may be more liberal or more conservative.
Okay, and here's Justin Pearson yesterday after Tennessee announced that it did pass a new map that would eliminate a Democrat district represented by a white guy or a black woman who's a Republican may end up replacing him. He's not happy about this. Cut number 13, go.
Here, you've had 3 strikes laws, mass incarceration, denied us of who we are, and we are still here. And today, you'll take the only majority black district from us.
Uh-huh. Oh, boy. Let's have some fun with this, Kev, shall we? Cut number 12, just for a couple seconds, please. Cut 12, go.
I want to bring together different voices.
He sounds like that guy in Beverly Hills Cop. You're not going to fool us with a banana in the tailpipe. Like, kind of not exactly sounding very like he does in cut 13, where he has a completely different accent and totally different speaking voice, which happens a lot with Democrats. Cut 13 again, go.
Here, you've had 3 strikes laws, mass incarceration, denied us of who we are, and
all right, that can't be the same person, but it is. It happens with AOC, happens with Hillary Clinton, happens with Gavin Newsom. Trust me, this is a thing with Democrats. Meanwhile, Donald Trump not having it with ABC's, or I should call them MSABC's, Rachel Scott, who's a profoundly horrible reporter. Like one of the most, they're all biased at ABC. We don't talk about them enough. We talk about MS Now, we talk about CNN. ABC is just as bad. Here she is asking a question about the fact that we got America's 250 celebration coming to the U.S., obviously, starting basically next month, and the World Cup coming here as well. In Washington, where I lived near for years when I went to college down there, and I've worked there as well. To be a nation's capital and to be as beat up, trashy, obviously, and just the murder rate through the roof. Well, the murders have been solved, right, with the National Guard. And now Trump, all he's doing is taking out the old dirty water at places like the mall and replacing them more with like reflective pool water that looks nice. All right. It's not a big deal. But in a way, it's kind of like what Giuliani did with New York, getting rid of the squeegee guys. Right. Same thing, like make everything look better. Obviously, get the crime down in the city. You'll attract more people when they've been losing them for years. But Rachel Scott says, well, how could you be doing something like this when there's a war going on? Because Trump can't multitask or anything. Cut number 1, go.
Why focus on all these projects right now?
You know why? Because I want to keep our country beautiful and safe. Beautiful also. This place was a disgusting place. It was Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, and we had a terrible disgust. I don't know. You probably don't see dirt, but I do. And you walk down this pond. If you would have walked down, they'll tell you better than anybody. They had to take 11 or 12 truckloads of garbage out of that lake, out of that water. It sat there for years like that. And that's not what our country is about. Our country is about beauty, cleanliness, safety, great people, not a filthy capital. It's such a stupid question you ask. We're fixing up the reflecting pond to the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, and you say, why are you fixing it up? Because you can understand dirt maybe better than I can, but I don't allow it. This is one of the worst reporters. She's with ABC Fake News, and she's a horror show. She's saying, why would you bother fixing this up? Why would I bother taking 11 or 12 truckloads of filth out of the water in front of the Lincoln Monument? That's what made our country great. Beauty made our country. People mate our country.
Good stuff
great.
there, Kevin.
A question like that is a disgrace to our country.
Disgrace? That's right. It's true. This is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. So Adam Carolla really does not like Barack Obama. And how can you, by the way? I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen this particular tweet from Mark Hamill. Who's Mark Hamill? He's Luke Skywalker, right? Likable guy. Back in 1983, I suppose. Things have changed since Return of the Jedi. But he is profoundly anti-Trump to the point of delusional. And this guy actually put up a tweet of a photo, obviously photoshopped, of President Trump in his grave, right, with a tombstone and everything, wishing death on President Trump. The reason why I bring this up is because Barack Obama chose Mark Hamill to be in a video promoting his presidential library that cost $850 million to build. Original projections were for $300 million. But of course, since it's Obama, everything is 2.5, 3 times as much. So Hamill has since deleted the tweet. But I mean, this is a lot like Kathy Griffin when she held up a severed head of Trump and then got fired from CNN as a result. Here's what Hamill wrote, by the way. If only he should live long enough to witness his inevitable devastating loss in the midterms. That aged well. He will be held accountable, not very good English here from Mark, for his unprecedented corruption, impeached, convicted, and humiliated for his countless crimes. Yeah, because they tried convicting him already, long enough to realize he'll be disgraced in the history books forevermore. And again, there's a picture of Trump lying in a grave. Great. So he has since deleted it. He's semi-apologized. He says he wasn't being clear enough. What a sick individual. And then Obama actually puts him in a video to promote his stupid library that Chicagoans are not very happy with. The city's falling apart, and Obama, of course, spending all that money on a shrine to himself in one of the most disappointing presidencies you could possibly imagine. Anyway, here's cut number 3. Adam Carolla, go.
It's sad that Obama turned into a piece of shit, but he's just a hustler like everybody else. He's not done anything good in or out of office except for agitate black people and to pretend to be some sort of statesman.
That's true. I mean, give Jimmy Carter credit, right? Carter, Habitat for Humanity, not just like wrote a check and said, all right, good luck building those homes. Like the guy actually put hammer to nail and built all these homes for people out of that charity. And I thought that was awesome. And I think he got a Nobel Prize for it. Good for Jimmy Carter. Not a good president, but after his presidency, did a lot of good things. Same thing, obviously, with Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and all the initiatives that they worked together on. But as far as Barack Obama, what has he done exactly? I mean, Chicago is his hometown, and he could give two you-know-whats about it. And the crime there, the gang violence. Nope. It's all about building a library for himself when he's not at his mansion on the water in Martha's Vineyard after screaming about climate change for years. I would think you wouldn't buy a house on the water, considering the rising sea levels and the Arctic melting into nothing, which isn't happening. But yeah, that's Obama. And I think Carolla's exactly right. He's a hustler and nothing more. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. So, Zohran Mamdani simply does not get it in terms of the amount of money that is going to leave this state. We could be talking like over $1 trillion in tax revenue. We've talked about the Ken Griffin situation, which Griffin now every day talking about how he's probably going to take his 345 Park project, which, you know, he's only going to invest $6 billion in, would have created tens of thousands of new jobs, not just for the company, but construction around the building. Obviously, all the walking traffic that would be great for businesses there as well. Mamdani does that one stupid video in front of Ken Griffin's penthouse, doxes him, and says, we're going to tax the rich. I promised it, and I'm going to do it now. Okay. You just lost, just like AOC lost Amazon for the city. Now Mamdani, cut from the same cloth, just did the same thing. And here is Shermichael Singleton on CNN talking about exactly what's going to happen in the next year or 2 or 3 if Mamdani keeps talking about this stuff. This is cut number 4. Go.
Where Anna was leading to. She's right. 1.6% of the wealthiest people in this city pay nearly half of the taxes. If those folks leave, to Anna's point, you're going to have a financial crisis, a magnitude of which Mamdani does not understand. You think about everyday things that people utilize, public transit, safety, education, all of the taxes that go to provide for all of those things for poor people in this city. What in the hell are they going to do if 44% of those dollars all of a sudden disappear overnight? And this is a short-sighted. I think short-sighted nature of this very.
I think you're right to have that. I do think you're right to have that debate about.
Yeah, of course. Then all the other liberals that are on that particular panel then have to jump in, and it's common sense, guys. It's that simple. This is not a right or left argument. If half the tax revenue leaves, New York will absolutely go bankrupt and may never ever recover. Because again, why would you live here if you could live in a state that doesn't have any state income taxes like Florida? You have better weather, climate and coastline. That's nice. Much safer, certainly for sure. A governor who knows what he's doing in DeSantis. It seems like a no-brainer. The same goes for Texas and Tennessee, South Carolina as well. Meanwhile, so Los Angeles, when you hear those 2 words, that city, you think of 2 other words like New York, for example, because a Republican, I'm not sure could ever win here again. I said on Larry Kudlow's TV show last night that Jessica Tisch, if she ran, where she can't be labeled like an extreme MAGA Republican, that she has the gravitas, perhaps to beat a Mamdani in 4 years. She's his police commissioner, so I'm not sure she would run against him. But if she did, I think that's a fair fight. I think the last election, obviously, when you have the Republican that ran again, who lost by 40 points in the previous election, he wasn't going to win this time around either. It was all just to get on TV a lot and, get some love, I guess, and attention. But that wasn't a serious candidacy, obviously. But anyway, the point is, people, Spencer Pratt is running for mayor of Los Angeles. He's a registered Republican. He is somebody he would say, well, has no shot. Spencer Pratt is a reality TV show from a show called The Hills. And, well, a reality TV guy couldn't possibly win a major election like that, except then you think about the guy who is the star of The Apprentice, now currently in his 2nd term. You think of Ronald Reagan, former actor, 2 terms as California governor, 2 terms as president. Guys like Fred Thompson, Sonny Bono, even Clint Eastwood ran for mayor of Carmel, California, and won quite easily. So particularly in California, they like their celebrities like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was a 2-term Republican governor of California as well. Spencer Pratt has been crushing it in terms of his ads, in terms of a debate that they just had on Tuesday night out there between Karen Bass, the incumbent, who's at 25% approval, Pratt, and then some city councilwoman. The top 2 finishers go to the general election after the June 2nd primary. And right now, the betting markets have Pratt finishing 2nd. And that's huge if that does happen, because Pratt versus Karen Bass, I think he could win that. Again, 25% approval, did a horrible job with the wildfires. She was in Ghana for a wedding when she was warned beforehand that the Santa Ana winds were forecasted to get pretty high. When that happens, the chances for wildfires were excellent. And she still goes to Africa, the mayor of Los Angeles, for a wedding for whatever reason. Send a card. All right. People just want the gift anyway. It's no big deal. After that debate, NBC Los Angeles does a poll. Who do you think won the debate? 87% said Pratt did. Only 8% said Bass did, and the other one, the councilwoman, Nadam, I believe her name is, 5% thought she won. 87% thought he won the debate in Los Angeles. So between Steve Hilton, he's leading right now in that California primary race, and Spencer Pratt just out of nowhere over the past week or 2, just exploding onto the scene, probably going to at least finish 2nd in that primary. And then I would put my money on Pratt to be the next mayor of Los Angeles, which I never thought I would say about any Republican for that city ever again. Meanwhile, Pratt was asked, well, if you're in a city that has like a 3-to-1 advantage as far as registered Democrats to Republicans, how are you going to win when you need all those votes? He had a very good answer for this. Cut number 17, go.
a Republican in a deep blue city that hasn't voted for a Republican in decades. Do you think you have an actual shot, and how and why? It seems that the odds are stacked against you.
Yeah, thankfully, all my supporters in Los Angeles are Democrats. Everyone I know, my family, are all Democrats. I grew up in L.A. I went to Crossroads. Everybody that texted me last night, amazing, congratulations, are all Democrats. So what people are confused on, the Democrats all are behind me. It's just the socialists and the communists that don't back me. But no, I'm confident I'm probably going to win with 51% on June 2nd because I don't do a political message. I don't do national politics. I don't do tribal politics. I don't talk about other states. I'm localized. I just want to fix our streets, get the lights on.
That's good stuff. Only the socialists and the communists are against me. I'll get the Democrats. Thank you very much. And you don't declare a party in this race, apparently. It's a nonpartisan race, so there's no R or D next to your name when you go to the ballot box. So, yeah, as long as he just keeps it localized and keeps talking about the things he is, especially when it comes to the wildfires and rebuilding the Palisades, I think he has an excellent chance. I really do. Meanwhile, Susie Wiles, very interesting chief of staff. I met her in the Rose Garden last year at the Easter egg roll, which was nice. She read to the kids, and then afterwards had a nice conversation with her. She's the president's chief of staff, first female chief of staff in history, which is interesting. You think we would have one by now, but no. But Wiles has been excellent in terms of, this is why you don't see too many leaks out of the Trump White House, especially when you compare it to the first term. She runs a tight ship, and more importantly, Trump respects her opinion. So here she's at a conference and she's talking about how we're probably going to find out that there were states Trump actually did win in 2020, which is very interesting. I'll let her talk about this, and I'll tag this on the other side of the break. Cut number 6, go.
Leaving the White House, he called me and invited me to dinner, which I was not in the inner circle. I was just overwhelmed. I couldn't imagine why. I drove down to Mar-a-Lago, which I think he thought I live, 10 minutes from there, but it's really 4 hours. And we had a lovely dinner. And at the end of it, he wanted to know why he won Florida, but maybe struggled in some other states that I think we're going to find out he actually did win. But
it's a very good point. Trump's thinking, all right, I won Florida easily. So neighboring Georgia, I probably should win too, right? That's usually the way it goes. I don't think Florida voters and Georgia voters are too much different from each other. And Trump was leading in Georgia by a big margin on election night, and then all the mail-in ballots came in, and then Biden ended up winning the state by something like 10,000 votes, 12,000 votes. Same thing with Arizona, right? Trump won this state in 2024 by the biggest margin of all the swing states. But again, big lead election night, and then the mail-in ballots came in, and he lost there by 10,000 votes. Wisconsin, I could go on, and I just found it interesting that a Susie Wiles would say something like that, and there must be something more to it. She just wouldn't throw it out there because she's very careful and responsible with her words. So I guess, stay tuned on this one. But again, it's just worth asking the question, how did Joe Biden, who clearly already had a brain that turned the mashed potatoes, we're talking like back in 2020, forget 2024, not campaign, go from his basement, and Barack Obama gets 68 million votes and Joe Biden gets 81 million. Meanwhile, the person who lost in 2024, Kamala Harris, I don't know how to say this without getting myself in trouble. Screw it. She sounds drunk again. Sorry. This sounds like somebody who people don't act like this. All right. This isn't like AOC and it's capricious youth and she's got all this energy. I mean, just the way she talks and that little slur that you hear sometimes, like you're at a bar like 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. Judge for yourself. Cut number 20. Go.
This war in Iran, which the American people do not want, which was not authorized by conference, but even if it was, it should not have been initiated. He talked about obliterating, and then he said, "Oh, he did." It's all just Tackle alert. You made me do that. I promised I'm not going to curse in public anymore. We're in a room amongst friends. You made me do that.
Well, I mean, again, people, You look at polls, she's the front runner quite easily. And she did that speech, if you want to call it a speech, in Nevada. She was in North Carolina last week. These are swing states that she lost. You're telling me she's not running? She's absolutely running. And if the money's behind her, you can talk all you want about Gavin Newsom. Kamala might be the nominee, and then J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio are going to have to duck from all the champagne corks that'll be happening if that happens, certainly for sure. Meanwhile, Candace Owens, also not the brightest bulb, also somebody who engages in conspiracy theories like Erica Kirk killed her husband, Charlie. Well, she has trouble pronouncing certain words, and it's just odd, especially hyperbolic. But anyway, this is Cut 14, and it's awesome. Go.
Okay, Candace, I'm going to give this one more shot because my therapist says that I need to deal with my issues. So let's just not mispronounce any words this time, okay? Because the Jews will use it against you to make you look dumb. So here we go.
Get comfortable, you guys, because it is going to be a long week. I have so many explosive revelations to share with you.
Okay. Revelations. You can do this, Lyle. You do this. Revelations.
Okay, I'm probably being a little hyperbolic.
Yeah, it's hyperbolic. It's not. I know it's not like a Super Bowl. Like a hyperbole is hyperbolic.
And I'm not saying that in a hyperbolic way.
Hyperbolic.
You're going to be hyperbolic. And
no one's being hyperbolic because it's not a word, but hyperbolic.
I guess you can just cost another coin in the I told you so jar.
Cost another coin?
Cost another coin in the
Sweetie, toss another coin.
Daily Wire operates like a deranged cult.
Okay, someone please call an ambulance or Hotsola. I think that Candace might have hantavirus from all the rats she surrounds herself with.
Oh, that's great. Hyperbolic. Another toin in the fountain. That's just genius stuff that I'll never, ever leave Twitter. Ever again. Finally, before we go to break, my friend Jesse Waters, who I had the pleasure of seeing tonight for Sink or Swim on the Fox News channel. Well, this is an excellent point in terms of all these Somalis that came to our country. You don't hear about the Somali migrations to other countries now, do you? And Jesse makes the point perfectly. Cut number 7, go.
The Somali situation. Do you ever wonder why the Somalis don't go to Japan?
Oh, no.
Because they don't let them. How about go to South Korea? They don't let the Somalis into South Korea. They don't let the Somalis into New Zealand.
What?
China doesn't want the Somalis. The Somalis are not really welcome anywhere in the world except the United States. Okay? And we've gotten a little window in how they've behaved so far, and it hasn't gone well. The statistics show they're uneducated, overwhelmingly, poor, and on welfare. So we tried. Didn't work out. They also stole a lot. Didn't work out. And so now I'm sorry you ruined it. Some of them are good people. They've ruined it for the rest of them. And so we're just not going to let any more of them come in. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
Okay, but.
And he's exactly right about that. I mean, no other country is as generous as we are with this stuff. And now we are paying for it severely in places like Minnesota. $10-15 billion of fraud, daycare centers without any kids, autism centers that aren't treating any kids for autism. And that idiot governor let it all happen underneath his nose again. The guy who was a few swing states from being a heartbeat from the presidency. Could you imagine that for a moment? Anyway, sleep well tonight, everybody. And before we wrap this puppy up, just want to tell you that I'll be back on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. So that will be awesome. Yes, working 6 days. I am. That's a labor of love. What can I really say? Anyway, we wrap this puppy up in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And a happy 100th birthday to the late, great Don Rickles. We play Rickles often on the show when we compare the insufferable content of late night comedy these days from the Stephen Colberts and Jimmy Kimmels of the world. There's always a great Rickles cut on Carson, and he was one of the best and actually very good in Casino. More of a serious role, but the guy had range. Anyway, let's pay tribute to Don Rickles. This is cut number 5. Go.
Isn't this fun, Dean? Huh? He's laughing and the Jewish guy took your wallet. As Lyndon Baines Johnson, our great president, only said last night, what's happening?
Biden before Biden.
I kid you, Ross. I want you to know something. You just got married, didn't you? Is that the wife? Oh, Take a look at what Ross Martin married, will you please? Looks like a real mercy mission. Look at this. Now I got him looking at her. How do you like this? She's going, I'm right. I married a dog. Throw a stick on the floor. See if she brings it back. I love people, really. Ricardo, why do I kid you? Why? Because I don't like you. The flies all around. Here's some mud. Finish your hut. You ever see his nose? When he breathes, the lip gets sucked right up. You're not Lebanese, you're a hawk.
That's great.
What are you, seals?
That's good stuff there, Elias. Yeah, so he would have been 100 years old today. That was at a Dean Martin roast, which you could go to YouTube and watch that at any time. And it's just there's several of them, obviously, but Rickles probably the best at it. Meanwhile, here's AOC. This is not comedy. She's serious about this. Econ major, at Boston University, which is a pretty good school. She's now saying that billionaires should not exist at all. And Elon Musk, the guy who puts rockets in space through SpaceX, the guy who gave us the electric car in Tesla, Starlink. I could go through all the different things that Elon Musk has given us, a free and fair Twitter, now X, but he didn't earn it. And therefore, he should not have to be a billionaire because he invented all this great stuff that people like to buy. Cut number 8, go.
There's a certain level of wealth and accumulation that is unearned, right? You can't earn $1 billion.
Sure,
that's right. You just can't earn that. That's exactly correct. You can get market power. You can break rules. You can do all sorts of things. You can abuse labor laws. Yep. You can pay people less than what they're worth. Yep. But you can't earn that, right? That's right. And so you have to create a myth that since you didn't earn that, you have to create a myth of earning it.
No, he's earned everything. And oh, by the way, I think Musk employs, when you go through all of his companies, hundreds of thousands of people, good paying jobs. And without an Elon Musk, then those jobs don't exist. Those businesses don't exist, obviously. And the queen of climate change, you'd think would embrace Elon a little bit, but nope, that's just not happening. Please, I know I said Kamala Harris would be the gift to Republicans that keeps on giving if she were the nominee. AOC, a very, very close second in that regard. Finally, Wes Moore, who also wants to run for president. Here he is in cut 15 before we go, saying that, oh, yeah, he would allow his son to mutilate himself at age 13 because that would make him a good dad. Cut 15, go.
That journey. Would you advise him to wait till he's 18? If this is how he is feeling, and I feel like I'm closely tied to him, I'm not going to advise him on something that he feels is
at 14 years old. Wes?
No, I understand it, but what I'm saying is the most important thing for me is I want him to feel safe in his own skin.
Oh man, what a horrible father. You're not there to advise him. Actually, at 13 years old, if your kid's thinking about having a sex change, you are absolutely there to advise him. And if you're not, you should be disqualified as a father. It's that simple. Oh, yeah, he's going to run also. Great. Anyway, this has been Concha at Night. Again, back on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern time for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Until then, I got 2 words for you. Bye-bye.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.